All right. Hi, everybody. This is A7X Fan Ben here with Godmason and Xerix for episode number 13 of the Pirate CSG podcast. And this is kind of like a little holiday special episode, which, I mean, you'll see why I say that at the end. But we're just going to go through some customs. It's not going to be a super long episode, but we're going to start with the organized version post. So we're just going to go through one custom per post from that thread. And we're going to start with Captain Vendari, which Xerix is going to go over.
Yeah, I know that Vendari had said at some point that he had more ships, but he either has been so busy he hasn't posted them, or else he's just plain forgot.
Yeah, there could be some on his website, but I don't think there are. I haven't checked there in a while.
Yeah, I haven't. I didn't know he had a website. I'll have to give that a look.
Yeah, he's a fan site.
All right. Oh, I think I'm gonna go with the INS Sky Goddess here. It's from his custom one-off faction Sindora. 16 points, 5 masts, 4 cargo, L base move, all 5, 2 L cannons, and +1 to cannon rolls against any non-Sindorian ship. And flavor, I think people can read the flavor on their own. I'm not going to read that. Sorry, people. Considering what else is here, this is, well, it's their flagship, really. For cargo, lots of room for a cargo in the 16 points, lots of room to put some powerful crew, I guess, and maybe get some coins. It's really a shame that we don't have more selection for Sindora, because I'd be quite interested to see what they can do.
Yeah.
Her closest comparison, I think, might be the Black Watch from the American faction.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the DJC expansion.
Yeah.
But I would hazard that the Sky Goddess here has better cannons. If only because her last 3 are starting rank 2 as opposed to starting rank 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a purebred gunship for me because the cannons are basically all rank 1 at L range. So basically you have all the best guns money can buy and 5 of them. So it's pretty much a really great gunship for me. Maybe a little too good for the pure firepower. I mean, HMS Gallows has pretty much the same, but 1 less cargo, or 1 more cargo for 1 less cannon. Same point cost. Of course, that's English, but yeah, it's a great gunship, if maybe slightly too good.
Yeah, I'd say if anything, it's probably a bit too cheap. I'd say 18, 19, 20 points is probably fair, just considering how good it is.
Yeah, I think 18, 19. Yeah, maybe 18. Yeah, good.
Yeah, fair enough then.
Yeah.
I really wish we could see some more of these Sindoran pieces. So, Vendari, if you're listening, come on, man.
yeah, there could be more named crew, especially. Yep. To put on the Sky Goddess anyway. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next one. We have a custom from Silvaxtry, and I'm just going to look at a few of them here. I'll go with HMS Wellas. This is an English icebreaker, 3 masts. The cannons are 3S, 4L, 3L. 4 cargo, SS movement, icebreaker keyword. Whenever this ship rams an iceberg, you may roll a d6 and move an iceberg of your choice in that direction. And he has no point cost because, it comes up with a lot of different abilities. So what we could do, though, is try to come up with a point cost, which is kind of a fun little challenge. This one strikes me as a little underwhelming. He has some really interesting customs. This one's okay. I wouldn't really go out of my way to use it. It's not great as a gunship or a gold runner or a hybrid or anything. The ability is what makes it stand out the most, but it'd be nice to get like an iceberg across the board moving into an enemy ship, but I don't know. It's cool, a little bit kind of random, kind of magical, almost feels like a cursed ability maybe, but overall it strikes me as decent but not great. Maybe I'm thinking like 11 points maybe.
Yeah, maybe 13 because I'm having trouble understanding the ability the second half.
Yeah,
a little bit. So is he saying like, move an iceberg of your choice that direction? Is he referring to like the numbers around the outside of an iceberg?
Yeah.
It's a little ambiguously worded to me.
Yeah. So, like basically you would ram an iceberg and then roll a d6. you roll first, and then let's say you get a 3, and then an iceberg. Oh, it should say move an iceberg S because he doesn't denote the movement. But an iceberg across the board, you could pick any of them, and then if that 3 would move that iceberg S into an enemy ship, you would probably pick that one. So you have to get lucky, but it could work out.
I think it's a niche ability. It's fun, and I like it, but at the same time, I think it's also not all that useful. And just all of its other traits are not super strong. I would put it at 10 points unless the ability was buffed. If the ability was buffed, it could be significantly more. Okay. Oh, right. I'll scoot on to the next one. Who's next down here?
Oh,
I think it's one of mine.
Lucky you. Okay, do you have one you'd like us to talk about, actually?
Since we're going through the Return of Davy Jones spreadsheet, maybe something from Fiends of the Blood Islands.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
That's way at the bottom, though.
Okay, let me try to get down there.
Nice.
Let's see. Okay, is Tour Eiffel from Fiends of the Blood Islands? Okay.
I don't know. Hang on.
Because I won't necessarily do that one. I'm just trying to make sure I'm in the right spot.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's Fiends, because I'm looking at the spreadsheet for Return of Davy Jones. I don't see Tour Eiffel.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll do, how about L'Étoile Brillante, if I'm pronouncing that correct. So it's 15 points, and for that, you get 4 masts. They're all rank 3. The 2 middle are short range, and at each end you get an L range gun for cargo, L move, and it gets a boarding roll bonus, which is +2 instead if 3 or more crew are assigned to her. Now, that's an ability I've never seen before. I've always felt that boarding has been kind of an underwhelming strategy. That bonus may not be needed on a ship this big. If anything, I think the ship could probably use some more speed.
Probably, but...
Yeah, I could see that. To me, I kind of agree. The boarding, I think that second part of the boarding bonus might be a little overpriced. I don't think it's overpriced compared to what WizKids would have done with it. But +2 to, boarding rolls against sea monsters or submarines, stuff like that, that's always felt overpriced to me. This one I would price at maybe like 13 points. It's still pretty cool, or it's decent. I like how the L range cannons are at the front and back. That's a little slightly less common than the other, having them in the middle. I would probably put, to get 3 crew assigned, you could easily just throw an oarsman on in addition to the captain helmsman to get that bonus pretty quickly, or maybe a firepot specialist or cannoneer. So it's decent, but I'd rather use it at maybe 13 points. I would think makes it a little more playable.
And even then, I'd say it could almost stand to be S+S instead of just L.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the speed is the main thing. Like, if it stayed at 15 points with everything else staying the same, but the speed changed to S+S, or, say, maybe going to extremes S+L.
Yeah, I think either of those would still be reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, S+L would work at 14 or 15. At 13, S+S is probably adequate.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. Yeah.
All right, so I'll consider changing the speed then. Make it like S+L or S+S or something.
Cool. The next one is from El Cazador. I'm going to look, this is towards the bottom of his post. Lupus. This one's a 3-masted ship with the jib style. This is from Empire/France. It's like a sub-faction of the French. 3-master, 14 points, 3 cargo, SS move. The cannons are 2L, 3L, 2S. Linked to Roddy Jaeger. I think
it's pronounced Jaeger.
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks. And then this ship eliminates 2 masts with 1 hit, so it has the ability of HMS Endeavor. This one strikes me as it's a good weapon. I'd rather have some of the 4 or 5 masters for that point cost. It reminds me of like a longship, maybe like 3 masts in it. It has like extra firepower type damage abilities, but it's almost like a glass cannon type deal. I think it is pretty good though. It's a pretty good, first strike weapon. You definitely want to get the first shot, because you could take out up to 6 masts if you got like a World Hater aboard would be a good idea maybe. So it's pretty good. There's other ships I like more. not only at this point cost, but also more durable for less points. For example, like even like HMS London, maybe not a super fair comparison, but it's a good ship. But, yeah, it's a good ship. Not one I would use a lot, but it's still pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's a pure combat ship on the smallest end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the amount of punch it has for its size, but like all three-masted ships, once you start getting above about 12 or 13 points, you're tacking on a lot of expensive abilities onto a ship that's pretty small, and you carry a somewhat high risk of losing if you engage another warship.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I see
England.
Yeah. I see the linked crew is Captain and Born Leader, which is SAT, same action twice. So that's actually a really good link in that case.
Mm-hmm.
You could put him and a helmsman and oarsman aboard, and or maybe the French have a bunch of rerollers, including 2 0 LR limit ransom rerollers. So there's some good crew combos you could use with the link there.
And there's whatever the sub-faction Empire has to offer as well.
Yeah. Yep. Nice.
All right. I think it's on to my list next, and I do have one I'd like you guys to talk about. It's Montré Cassé. It's at the bottom of the French list.
Mm-hmm.
I may have posted this before, but it may be worth talking about on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
The sound of clicking punctuates the podcast.
Yeah, I don't see it yet. But...
This is like the opposite of the ship you were just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Jeepers.
Okay.
5S cannons.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
I think, yeah, this looks familiar. Yeah, so 5-master SS move, 3 cargo. All of the 5 cannons are 5S cannons, and then has broadsides attack. So if you get a 6, take out 6 masts, but the odds of that happening are extremely low. I think it's okay. I'd rather have like the Cursed Morning Star, even though it's slower, has a little bit more playable cannons and ability for the same hold. It's okay. It's definitely not one I would use, to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't use this either, and I try to use ships as often as possible.
Yeah, me too.
But
I think if I paid you, you might use it, but I don't know. Maybe could it use a rework into a smaller ship with more accurate guns? Maybe.
Maybe. I think if you wanted to keep it pretty similar, even just making the guns 4S and increasing the cargo to 4 could work.
I feel like that might be too cheap, though, because, I want to call to mind, I think it's El Neptuno is kind of similar to that, has an equally debatable, an ability that's of equally kind of usability.
You can put bonuses on El Neptuno's ability. You can't put bonuses on broadside attack.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
Also, the Neptuno, I think, has like 4 or 5 cargo spaces.
Yeah,
so,
it's got 5. Yeah.
Plus, we can talk about how El Neptuno is a decent ship.
Yeah,
but,
pretty good. Yeah.
Or we can, kid ourselves all the time and tell ourselves it's a good ship, but...
I say decent, because there are definitely options that Spain has that are better.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the Neptuno's a niche ship.
Yeah, I mean...
Kind of like this, I guess.
Yeah.
It's good if you want to go nuts with really strange strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at 10 points, there's not a whole lot of space on board your Montré Cassé here to fit expensive crew.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with 5 masts, that's a large ship, you got to remember, and moving around pretty quickly, too. I don't think the French have a 3-point sim action twice, but if you can somehow find a way to get... Oh, wait, no. Ooh, something even better, but you'd have to make the cargo hold bigger. That's the only way that would, if you put... yeah?
No, sorry. I feel like it's not good at getting gold or fighting with guns. I mean, it's just tough to know what to do with it, which is, I think, part of the reason we wouldn't want to use it.
I'd try to use it to board. I wouldn't try to shoot with the cannons.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Because that rank, they're essentially, like, it's a 1 master with a +4 bonus, really.
Yeah, so like I would put maybe captain with S boarding and then helmsman oarsman for 10 points. I think that could
Yeah,
work.
one of those S-board guys from Fire and Steel. Either one of them.
Yep. Cool. Okay. I guess we could move on to Return of Davy Jones. So we're going back to Xerx's custom set here. Man. I think we're on the French, I believe, or no?
Yeah, because you covered the Whoa. I believe you covered the English last time.
Yeah.
I think so.
Looks like it. Huh. Alright, yeah, I'll start off. La Course. This one's 22 points, 5 masts, 4 cargo, SS move. The cannons are 3S, 2S, 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 3S. And then the ability is this ship eliminates 2 masts with 1 hit, like we saw recently. So it looks kind of like
French Endeavor.
What was it?
That's literally what this thing is. We designed it to be French Endeavor.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that's what I was gonna
Endeavor is still superior.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like the French answer, basically. So more speed, but worse cannons overall, objectively. So it's quite good. I would definitely use it. Maybe slightly too similar, but it is different at least. And the point cost is slightly higher, which is fine. I like it.
Yep. It does feel a little bit plain Jane to me, just because this is all pretty much stuff we've kind of seen in released sets, and part of why I love custom units is because people can come up with crazy abilities, but it doesn't seem outrageously unfair or anything to me.
Yeah, using the
outrageously unfair might be later.
Yeah. Yeah, using the Endeavor as a base, it seems about right to me. Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. I'll start on Notre Dame, which is 18 points. You're getting another 5 mass for that, and this time you get 5 cargo. It's also S plus S move, and this time it's got basically the same firepower, but instead of having 3 S guns on either end, it has 2 L. The ability is, international crew of any nationality.
Kind of vanilla, in my opinion. I read somewhere from either Wolf or someone way back that the French were kind of vanilla. They got just kind of stuff. So I took that in mind and went with that here for the Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's not super exciting, but I think just the firepower at that speed and at that size of ship alone is worth a look. I think maybe Les Superbe is a little better, but I think what makes it interesting to me though is the crew of any nationality. I mean, the French have good name crews; they're one of the biggest factions, but what it opens up is kind of like the crazy stuff, like Bianco's haulers, like can't be shot at when docked. Davy Jones, obviously.
Joaquin Vega.
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff could occur. So, I mean, all
powerful. I think non-expat crew.
Yeah.
Probably fit on here easily enough.
I think that is one of the most underrated abilities out there, because it does give you access to some really good crew. I mean, instead of using, a captain plus a helmsman, you can now throw on something like Hammersmith or Thomas Gunn.
Yeah, I like
those
it more.
Types of crew.
I like it more for abilities that certain factions can't even get, like the Corsairs. If they could get all powerful, that would be crazy, stuff like that. And that's what I see here with this one, park it at a fort with Bianco's haulers can't be shot at while docked, or maybe it gives the French access to a potential all-powerful crew, things like that.
Yeah.
There's also enough cargo and point space to put on any of their own good options.
Yeah,
Plus, eventually, some of these custom options we're going to get to in a minute or two here.
Awesome. The next one, I don't know how to pronounce it.
La Triomphe.
Okay, cool.
La Triomphe.
That's pretty much what I thought. Thanks. 16 points, 4 masts, 6 cargo, LS movement, 4 cannons, all rank, all 3S. I think I remember this one.
What?
Yeah.
What is this?
You may
triple the range of the ship's cannons, but you must roll an unmodified 6 to hit.
Yeah, so you can't apply bonuses. Okay. Yeah.
But you can shoot from 3S away.
Yeah, I know Wolf has kind of put the kibosh on this concept.
Yeah.
It's really wacky, really quick. It needs to be. I don't think the ability is necessarily the biggest problem. I think the cargo at that speed on a 4-master alone is kind of frightening. So I think at least 18 points would be a good edit. It does seem really cheap as like a super hybrid. Even without the ability too, I would put maybe Barb and Ice, maybe put a World Hater on, because then you'd have 2S without even wanting to triple it. If you got in close range, you could shoot pretty well too. So I think it's a really good hybrid and too good for the cost. So unlike the other two we've gone over, I think this one needs to be more expensive.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm thinking maybe I will change this one. Yeah. I don't know about the point cost, but what I think I might do is I might deduct the cargo, because this has actually turned up quite often among the French when we do the yearly campaign game in the summer.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And this, she's either in the starting fleet or one of the first ships launched. And mainly, she's been used as, let's see, I think 2 years ago, the person who was French used her as an empty runner to just run and go and get golden resources. Didn't even use the ability, didn't even put a captain on her.
Yeah. Huh. I know. This is one of the ships that I like a lot from a looks perspective. I like how you change the masts up. I think it looks really pretty too. So.
Yeah, I actually do have this one built.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of nice. Looks like a Royal Louis hull and some. I think I used masts from a Grand Barnacle.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought it was Deliverance from Wii, but
I had a bunch of no, the Deliverance. That's my LaCourse.
Oh,
I put it back together with Deliverance masts.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Cool.
I mean, this ability, it's a lot of fun, but at the same time, anybody who's measured out how long S and L actually are will realize that this is barely any different from having 3L guns and being able to just double them, because I'm pretty sure that, L is like 83 millimeters and S is 57.
Yeah.
So you're comparing 166 to about 171, I think. So it's barely got any more range than an L range doubler. I do like it, but I must agree with you. It's too good in every way to be at its price, 18 at least.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Imagine if she did have L range cannons. Because I remember when designing this, I was like, tripling range. I should probably make all the cannons on this short.
Yeah. Probably.
So you don't get so I was like, okay, the people who make S range cannons with L range, like Crenshaw for the Americans.
Oh yeah.
If a crew like that wound up on here, would you suddenly have L range guns to triple?
I think that's a no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based on what I've heard, I think Wolf has said that crew does not actually modify the printed range of the guns, which is what's getting extended. Yeah, I've tried to do that. There was one time when I used a Cargo Master to get that kind of crew onto a flotilla, and then Wolf came in and said, "Sorry, but that's not quite legal." Wait, it might have been you, Ben.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was him.
Yeah,
probably.
Oh, either way, it's not legal.
I might be thinking about power cannons, the UT.
Yeah, that could work.
Because that
better.
does for one shoot action, or at least until you succeed, I think.
Yeah.
It makes you the printed range L plus L.
Yep, exactly.
So if you triple double L, that's 5L. Oh, good grief.
6L.
Oh, good grief, either way.
Oh, and add Nemo's plans on top of that. Figure out a way to get Black Mark on board so you can use Davy Jones and copy the extended range keyword as well.
Nice.
I am working on that for an El Neptuno fleet, but I'll post that when it's done. And I think it'll be too expensive to ever really use.
Yeah. I just looked up in the code. You're right. Got Mason about that. This ability does not change the ship's S range cannons into L range cannons. It merely allows them to target objects within L range. So yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'll hop on to, I think it's Les Argonautes.
Les Argonautes, yeah, more or
less. You might want to check the spelling on that as well as La Triumph. But this is, I have to look below my microphone, which is kind of weird, so I'm going to tilt my head. Les Argonautes is 19 points. We've got 4 mass, 4 cargo, L move, and then 2 S guns on either end with 3L in between, sandwiched. And then the ability is broadsides attack only French crew may use their abilities.
No, you're looking at Legal.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to tilt my laptop here. Okay.
Yeah,
I can read it if you need.
Okay. Oh wait. Oh, my mistake. I think I skipped a line on the ability. Oops. But yes, it's once per turn. Roll a d6. It's sat. Same action
and
twice.
World Hating. It's on the end there. It's World Hating on the end there. That's why she's 19 points.
Yeah. That's the single longest string of text in this entire document, I think.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
That's why I like to wrap the text on mine. Anyway.
All right. At 19 points, I mean, that is pretty solid, but I mean, it's a good set of abilities, but it's still a very slow ship. And when you start to spend that much, it just sort of ends up being area denial instead of a ship you'll actually use for war.
Yeah, I disagree. I think it's really good. Maybe too good, I'm not sure. The cannons are basically 1S, 2L, 2L, 1S, and then with Captain Helmsman reroll, could go up to LS, with 8 shots. I think it's really good. I'm not sure it's underpriced, but I think it might be about right. I'm thinking about maybe trying to kind of figure the cost out. SAT and then World Hater would be 7. So if it's 12 with no abilities, that does look about right. So I think the cost might actually be right. It seems really good as is because it's got such great combat abilities already built in.
Mm-hmm. Her track record is not brilliant. She got, I think, one-shotted in the most recent... no, I think I might be thinking about the 2 years ago in the summer campaign. She got one-shotted.
Huh.
And she got launched, got the same action twice, sailed out, shot, missed everything, even with World Hating.
Yeah.
And then I think whatever she was shooting at hit her with a broadside attack and sunk her.
Wow.
Yeah. Well. So her track record is not brilliant, but I'm expecting that if she gets used again, it'll be good. Mm-hmm. Oh, and another side note, I am not positive, but I think every single one of these ships is built. I actually have like a little model for each one of these.
Nice. That's great.
No, actually, no, I think it's the Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. I don't think I built the Dame, but I have all the others, I believe.
Oh, Dame.
Yeah.
That was a really terrible pun.
Okay. I don't have a spare 5-master to Kibash to turn into a all rank 2 monster.
Okay, I'll go to the next one. Like Gowl, I think.
God. Another one.
This one is 16 points, 4 mass, 6 cargo, L movement. Cannons are 3S, 2L, 2L, 3S.
Basically the opposite of the Argonaut.
Yeah, broadsides attack, and then only French crew may use their abilities on this ship. This one strikes me as a little too good at first glance. I don't see that negative ability being much of a hindrance because the French have good named crew, and
it basically would only prevent you from putting expats on there.
Yeah, or like the crew of any nationality. There would be no point in trying to do that sort of thing. I mean, it's pretty good. I like the thought of using it as like a really powerful hybrid. I probably wouldn't really use the broadsides attack unless I was damaged and only had the rank 2 cannons left. I want to say it's like a 17-point ship. It's such a good hybrid, but I like it though. I think I would use this one.
Okay, sounds fair.
Yeah.
I don't see that debuff being particularly useful, as you said, because, well, I mean, I partially have to disagree with the French being one of the better crew selections. Partially. They have sort of a plethora of a lot of the good abilities, but they lack a lot of exclusive abilities, and they seem to have at least 5 or 6 S-porters, which is kind of a waste when they could have put a lot more interesting or useful abilities on.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I mean, they have a couple stat captains and enough SAT EA crew to make this thing a monster.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
All right, Glory, Hallelujah is actually just called Glory here.
Do we want to talk about Ironclad?
We can.
Oh, wait. I would. Wait, what's your ironclad keyword? Let me scroll back here.
All right. I gotcha.
This
ironclad.
Okay.
You must roll a 5 or 6 to hit this ship. And there's an unwritten errata. If you have like a world hitter and you roll a 4, you get the +1. It counts as a 5. So I did that after a test game with one of them, and we legit could not hit the thing.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, you know what? World hitting abilities, they'll apply for this.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So this is an ironclad. I'm not sure quite what type of ironclad it's supposed to be.
It's 3 masts.
Okay, so it's like it's like a tall ship, but it's one of those early ones where they just armored the hull. Got it.
The actual model, it's a 1-deck 3-master, like the Assassino de la Nave, kind of. So it's a little short in the water.
Oh wait, did you cut? Oh wait, did you
take a different hull?
3-mast?
Yeah, it's like a schooner hull maybe or something like that.
Yeah, but actually for this, I think this is the first actual custom ship I ever built a model for.
Yeah.
And I did something weird. I took the sides of a broken galley, flipped them around the other way, and then I took 2 different deck pieces and cut them so that they'd fit on. Nice. It's built really, really weird.
Yeah.
Can you?
But it blows in the water.
Because this sounds really cool. I want to see what this looks like. I think
there's a picture of it. I think I posted a picture of it when I first built it in the custom ships thread.
But
due to the photo bucket
disaster,
or just failing, I don't know if the picture is still there, let alone where in the thread it is.
Yeah. I think I've seen it a bunch in maybe the original Century of the Empire.
The original Century of Empire. Back in 2015 on the gigantic ocean.
Yeah.
It was like one of the first ships the French bought.
Yeah.
And I think my brother did that because we had just finished making it a couple hours before the game began.
Nice.
So as soon as he was able, he bought it just to have it, I think.
Yeah. Nice.
And he because there was a section in that report where it was the Glory versus, I think it was the Signet.
That sounds
and
right.
They were going at 4 or 5 turns.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, did it go out in a blaze of... I won't finish that sentence. But, so this is a 12-point ship. It's only got 2 cargo and an L move. Oh, wait. Am I reading that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Cargo, L
I'm looking at this from a funny angle. But 2S, 3L, 2S. And as we talked about, it's an ironclad, and it gets World Hater. I think that not only is that a really strong offensive ability, but, it's a crazy powerful defensive one as well. So I think it's a little much at 12 points. I would say this is 14 or 15 at the minimum.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, I'm always going to be hard on these because I don't really like seeing them in general.
Yeah.
But I do agree that it is too good. For the cost, for the most part. I know the cargos and the move are pretty bad, kind of. But I think it's still a little too good for the cost. It's pretty cheap as far as gunships go, even though the abilities are great. So, and 2 cargo is really all you need. I think 1 cargo and, the 0, theoretically, are the only cargo that completely cripple, a potential gunship. Like USS Superior comes to mind because it only has 1. But 2 is enough for Captain Helmsman.
Chickaninky,
which is
0.
Enough. Yeah. Captain Helmsman is generally enough.
Bad, so.
And then an oarsman can come aboard because it doesn't take up space. So the 2 cargo is not good, but it doesn't really limit the ship. And then you could even do, they got Roy Mata from RTSS and a helmsman. That would be pretty bad, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Although, as my rule of thumb, for these ironclads, based on the way they're constructed, they're never bigger than 3 masts.
Yeah.
Never.
The only one that I've devised that's more than 3 masts, actually, I might have 2 of them, but they're on the slow or poorly armed side, I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Another
little fun tidbit. I believe this was an actual ship.
That sounds right.
It was one of the first converted. I think it was a combination steam and sail.
That sounds right to me.
Wait, I may actually have my own custom of this. Let me scroll through really quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, I did, but I'm pretty sure it's spelled differently. I think it's Gloire, Gloire or something.
That sounds familiar.
Okay, because I may have posted it at some point. I'm gonna have to drag this thing on screen. But my stats were L move, 2 cargo, 16 points by the way, 3S, 2S, 3S. I think I revised my ability to be similar to yours because it seemed more fair. I gave mine +1 against English ships because I think it was at the height of the Napoleonic Wars, maybe.
Even though you hate the faction bonuses.
Oh, yeah.
I do, but I thought it was historical.
Yeah,
I hate those faction bonuses.
Yeah, that's why I have a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that stat set? More expensive and not as well armed.
Yeah, it's a little more balanced, a little more fair.
But it's still an ironclad, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say anything else.
Teeth is like, yeah, it sounds better. It has iron.
Yeah, no,
wood.
It sounds better. Keep it off my table.
Yeah, that's exactly why I didn't say anything else.
If you think this one's bad, then the cursed one is must be like the Antichrist to you then.
Yeah, I think that sounds.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
Let's not go there.
Yeah. I'll go to the next one though. The guillotine. This one is 13 points, 2 masts, 3 cargo, L movement. Cannons are 2L, 2L, and then blockade runner keyword, which is this ship gets +1 to her ram and boarding rolls. I think this one, it's a solid ability. I think this is about where WizKids would have put it, but to me, +1 to boarding.
WizKids also costed the Tiger at 11.
Yeah, I think +1 to boarding is a little overrated. I don't know. I think this one could be 12. I wouldn't really go out of my way to use it. It's not a ship I like a lot. There's a handful of French 2-masters I would rather use, mostly for lower point costs, but similar armament. It's not bad at all, but I think it could be a little cheaper.
So cheaper. Okay. Well, what if it was faster?
Yeah,
suppose it was faster. Would the point cost be about accurate if it was faster?
I think so. Yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah, because when I began posting pieces that had this keyword, the blockade runner, a lot of people, like Cazador in particular, said like, okay, this isn't a blockade runner. This is like a blockade ship. This is what you use to make the blockade.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, blockade runner is kind of a weird. It kind of has a weird history.
Yeah, it got this particular keyword was devised by my brother.
Yeah.
So and
should blame him.
It was originally just. I don't know why, but it was originally just described to as like the 2 quote unquote masted ships, like the Tiger from Revolution.
Yeah, those sloops.
Yeah, like those ones. But I kind of wish it hadn't stuck. But oh well. And the weird thing that bothers me most about that is that on the original ones, it's only technically 1 mast on the actual artwork because the first mast is just the sail. They didn't add the 4-mast. The actual wooden mast until, I don't know, like Rise of the Fiends or Fire and Steel or something like that. So it's pretty deceiving because it looks like a 1-mast in the original sets.
Yeah, I think that they may have done it because they just kind of wanted more variety for how ships looked and played. I mean, they are the same size and they punch from 1 card, just like 1-masted ships.
Yeah. And they wanted 2 cannons on 1 mast, essentially, but do you like this ship or no? This one?
I think it's way too expensive because any boarding abilities I think are almost wasted on anything that doesn't move S+L.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because boarding's already of limited viability, so you kind of need it to be a really quick ship.
Yeah, either that or be a large ship that can just bully its way in there.
Yeah, but even then, people might just avoid it if they have faster ships.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right.
Moving on to the crew.
Think you're up, Godmies.
Alrighty. Philippe, I'm not even going to bother. Okay.
It's pronounced Tyzak.
Okay. 8 points linked to Notre Dame, depending on which part of the country or world you're from. Captaineer, I think I can tell what that means. This ship's crew cannot be eliminated unless she sinks. This is 8 points. I guess that's an okay price for that set of abilities.
All right.
Yeah,
and
I think it's fine.
All right, and the Captaineer, as I have it written here, you get Captain and Cannoneer, basically.
Yeah. I would rather just see them separate, because it's only one word as like a keyword, Cannoneer, to just add it. I think if Musketeers didn't exist, I don't think it would be confusing, but I wouldn't mind if they were just separated and just Captain, Cannoneer, crew can't be eliminated. But that's just my own thought on it. I will say the link is good because it links to a really good 5-master that says crew of any nationality, and then if you put this guy on, they can't be eliminated. So this would be a good way to protect Davy Jones or some kind of crazy crew you want to put aboard. So it is a really good link.
Yeah, or find a way to get him onto one of your boarding focused ships.
Yep.
Although if you did want to put Davy Jones on there, you couldn't afford to put him on without a 0-point delimiter.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yep. Yeah, you'd have to get out robbed.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, I'll go to the next one. Jean Lenoir, 7 points, linked to the guillotine, fear, and then once at the beginning of each of your turns, roll a d6. On a 6, any ship in your fleet may be given 2 actions that turn. So the Admiral
any ship.
Ability. So that one's pretty much
ship. Every ship.
That one's pretty much a 6-point ability, and then fear. I think fear is 2, but I'm fine with it being 1 here because it's just bad for the most part. It links to a ship I wouldn't really want to use much. I'd rather use this crew on a bigger ship where it would be more protected and where I could fit other named crew, like maybe a reroll or things like that, in addition to maybe Captain Helmsman. So I don't love.
Or else find a ship that's got reroll built into it.
Yeah, exactly, like Bourbon. Yeah, I don't love the link, but I do like the crew. So yep.
Thematically, he's the son of the Lenoir character from the game.
Yeah. Nice. That's good.
Who's the mom?
No idea.
You don't know? You don't know?
The Hag of Tortuga.
I know he's related to him.
I'm your mother. You should know this.
It's probably the Hag of Tortuga.
Wait. Rise of the Fiends or Crimson Coast?
Either one.
Well, honestly, I couldn't totally blame someone if they went for Rise of the...
maybe Madame LaFontaine, maybe?
Yeah.
Well, wait, I thought that was Jacques-Duc de Bourgogne or whatever his name was. I thought that was his territory.
Valois? I don't know.
Oh, wait, yeah. Oh, it's Valois. Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I can't pronounce it.
I think I got it confused with a ship name.
All right.
Cool. Amiral Jacques Auretiel, I'm guessing... Okay.
Descended from Captain Auretiel.
I figured as much. This is a captain and helmsman, but with a bunch of loyal and hostile keywords thrown in at 5 points.
He's loyal France, hostile England, and pirate. And he links to La Course.
Oh, yeah, he does link. And I guess there's value in that it's added by, I guess, at least to counteract all the hostile and loyal keywords, which always struck me as a little superfluous.
Well, it means essentially that when you are putting your fleet together in like a non-campaign game, you cannot use English or pirate.
Yeah, I know. I never really liked those, though. They always kind of bothered me.
I think they're okay.
Way to discount
I think it's mostly,
abilities.
Yeah, I think it's mostly like thematic reasoning. I kind of like it. Kind of bring the flavor text into the abilities. But like Wolf has talked about, the discount got kind of extreme on a few of them. So this one doesn't get the discount, which I think is fine. It's a good crew, kind of like Hammersmith for the French. I kind of wish it was spelled with an A, though, Arathiel, because that's what the original one was. So, but anyway, maybe they changed it down the line.
Change that quickly enough.
Yeah. And then I'm not gonna.
Gaston de Bouchure.
All right, thanks. 9 points for this crew. Fear, and then Fear,
Yep.
if this ship wins a boarding party, eliminate all the other ship's crew. So basically Wraith from Ocean's Edge, but in French form. Yeah, I don't love seeing like direct clones. At least it's a different faction, and I also don't like how expensive that massacre ability is. I think this crew could be maybe 7 points, and I still wouldn't use it very often at all. It's pretty much unplayable in 40-point games for me.
I don't like either of these abilities all that much, and I think even if this was something like 5, I would rarely touch it. Ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Massacre could have been 5 points originally. Fear is about 2, but combining them, neither of them is like super useful. You got to really go out of your way to use either of them. And you have to get pretty lucky with Fear. It's better in like big battles with a lot of ships around. So it's tough to use something like this, especially at 9.
Yeah. I just think that, yeah, too expensive and the abilities aren't super useful, and you'd really have to find the right ship anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair points.
All right. Louis Granger, I'm going to...
I think you skipped Capitan Bernice Savage.
I did. I have missed another line. I think it's because I'm looking down at my laptop screen from a weird angle and talking into the mic. Okay, so Capitaine Bernice Savage is 7 points, I think, if I can read correctly.
7.
Okay. And Captain Loyal France, I haven't missed a line, have I?
Nope, that's...
Okay, good.
Him, her, I'm not sure.
Oh, that's very nice of you. All right, so Captain Loyal France, once per turn, roll a d6 on a 5 or 6. This ship may be given an extra action. And at, I guess at 8 points, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. Should be 8.
Savage is 7, though.
Oh, wait. I've missed a line again.
Yeah.
Should be 8 with the right cost, but yeah. It's basically like French Victor d'Alva.
Victor d'Alva, yeah.
Yeah, right, ROTF.
Yeah. Oh, that version, I thought that version of Victor was from Fire and Steel.
Oh, yeah, probably. Oh, yeah, because it's a different...
It's confusing because the San Cristobal is from Rise of the Fiends and links to him, and it says it on the card, but he's nowhere in the set.
Yep. They probably... I don't know if they... This would be a good question. I don't know that Wolf would know, but I don't know if they intended the link to be to the OE version of d'Alva, because there was a version of him, or if they had planned the Fire and Steel version all along and were just teasing it.
It's possible.
Yeah. I mean, that
you could
sounds
link
more
either version of him on the San Cristobal, and he would still be dead useful.
Yeah.
I mean, even if the S-board captains.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think either of those, the latter explanation with them planning the Fire and Steel version is more likely, because that was when they rebranded to Pirates of the Cursed Seas, and it was also
that was with Rise of the Fiends.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And there's the Rise of the Fiends checklist is full of errors. I mean, there's ships that didn't show up until Return to Savage Shores in one case, maybe, I think.
Yeah.
That wound up on there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on that checklist that was never released. I think that was just a mess of a set.
Yeah.
Yeah, starting there is when things, in my opinion, I think may have gone downhill a bit after their deal with the mouse.
The mouse?
Disney. Rise of the Fiends came right after the Disney expansion set, which I think quite a few people at the time gave it a heck of a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Because only 2 factions, and they were already like the best factions, and they got even more really good stuff.
Yep. Yeah,
they should have waited for like at least one more film to come out before they did that.
Yeah. There was a thread talking about the Pirate CSG timeline on Miniature Trading, and I forget who it was by, but they described like the different eras in Pirate CSG like history, and then POTC was all alone under Mouse Event. So I just thought that was
oh, that's funny.
So random. This is a good crew though. Captain and EA, it should be 8. I don't see Loyal as being enough to give it a discount. I think it should just be the same as d'Alva. But even at 8, he would see a ton of usage because he saves you cargo space. it gives you 2 great combat abilities for any other, great warships that France has.
Yeah, I'll put them on either of the 5ers from this set, and you're set to go.
Yep. I'll do the next one. Luis Granger. This one is 8 points. He's a Marine, and he gets +1 to her. Oh, I see that now. Nice. Yep. So it gets +1 to her gun rolls against any non-French ship or port. Why isn't it 7 though, like the other ones with the World Hater?
It's possible that I may have gotten the point costs flipped around, or that they were in a different spot and then I moved them.
Yeah.
Because she's right underneath Savage, and they say that Savage should be 8.
Oh, it's flipped. Yeah.
So it's possible that I made an error there.
Yeah.
And in any case, I can probably fix that easily enough to make it more accurate.
Cool. Yeah. I've said this already on the podcast. I feel like Marines should have been 5 instead of 6 at a base level. So I would
way too expensive.
Even then it's tough to use in anything under 100 points. So I think this one could be 6 if WizKids had done it right since the beginning, or even, I don't know. I think if Musketeers were 2 originally, Marines could be 4. I think that might have been an even better thing, but that goes all the way back.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, that goes all the way back to Spanish Main, so it gets a little iffy, but it probably would be better. So.
That would make Marines further viable as something to use more, in smaller games.
Yeah.
Additionally, that would make the viability of something like Wolves lesser.
Yeah, exactly. And make Wolves a little less, like, not OP, but it'd make it less annoying, because you might actually have a Marine, instead of just knocking him out of the game forever.
So. Well, if I have a Marine, I'm not putting my Marine on an island. I'm putting my Marine on a sub, where he can still shoot and not be shot back at.
On a sandwich?
No, a submarine.
Yeah. Although since these are titled...
Although since the crew chips are rather small, I suppose I could probably fit one into a sub sandwich. I just don't think it would be very tasty to eat plastic.
Oh, then what you need to do is, instead of using the styrene cards, you need to find some of the Barbary Coast promos, the cardboard ones.
Yeah,
those are rare.
No,
those are collector's items.
They're not too rare. Not too bad.
Yeah. Somebody send me a whole set, please.
I've only got 2 of them. I've got the 2 American ones. And, that's Turner and
like
the guy who has Ghost Ship.
Ralph,
Ralph David, like 8 points for Ghost Ship.
Yeah.
I think I've got Lady Baptiste.
Yeah.
Either
styrene version of David is better than that cardboard one.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Way better. Maybe the cardboard would digest better than the styrene. I don't know. Probably easier to chew.
Fiber.
Yeah.
Fiber.
Yes.
As opposed to whatever, happens when you try to eat plastic.
Yeah, styrene.
Oh, trust me. You don't want to know.
Yeah, it'd be pretty bad. Especially with, like, the paint, the material they use for the artwork on the cards. That would be pretty rough. You could scrape off stuff from the DJC cards and just have that without the plastic. Just have that.
Whatever's in the paint.
Yeah. Okay, so we've gone over...
And then you've got the gunner at the very end, the only generic in my entire set.
Yeah.
I think you talked about them in the first episode that you did customs.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did, so we'll go on. We'll move on now. We could see it again next time, too. So next we're going to talk about... Somebody on the podcast survey, in those responses, somebody asked about play styles. So we could just talk about, like, what is your play style? So I would say I'll introduce by saying I like to use things that other people don't use or shy away from. I like to use different fleets all the time. I mean, there's certainly fleets I've tested out a bunch of times over again, but I've played so much that I've been able to test out a lot of different things. So I like to change it up. I like to go with the unexpected. And then the other big thing with my playstyle is I enjoy using gimmicks. So I'm actually going to make a thread, hopefully in January. I don't know if I'll get it done then, but it's called Gimmicks for the Win. Because I've actually had a lot of luck with gimmicks. Because they've actually, I don't know, it can surprise you.
That depends on what you consider a gimmick, really.
But like things like mind control, that's my favorite gimmick, of course.
Oh yeah, I like to do that too.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy when you move other people's ships around with your abilities and like farming mysterious islands and stuff like that. So
there was a game I played once, way before I joined the forum, but I had one of those L movers, and for like 3 turns in a row, I got the 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I would send my brother's Scorpion ship L in a straight line backwards, and then he'd move it S plus S forward, and then I'd roll the 5 or 6 and move him L backwards again. It's still a running joke to this day. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah. Yeah, the curse that got in the L movers a lot in Vassal Campaign Game 1 and in Command the Oceans this year. So it's definitely been an ability I've had pretty good luck with. A lot better.
Not so much in the economy Vassal game.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah.
Someone remind me to use that in my next 40-point game.
Yeah.
Ben pretty much exhausted it. Just check out Ben's mind control fleet in the fleet section. He pretty much exhausted the ways to abuse that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of like unique treasures and mysterious islands you can start getting involved with, which is where it gets really crazy. But going back to playstyles, gimmicks are pretty much my favorite way to win. I don't always like the usual, HMS Titan plus Banshee's Cry. I get sick of that. I get sick of the OP stuff because I played, and the reason though is it's not that I don't want to win. I get sick of it because I've played so much that I have seen it a ton. So I like to change things up. I like to use ships people have not only maybe never used, but sometimes ships people have never even heard of, which is something I like doing. And also finding underrated ships and ships that surprise people by how good they are, like the Tiger's Paw from the South China Sea set review, which I want to use in a fleet now. So that's generally my play style, along with just the English. I mean, they're my favorite faction, so I do like playing as them.
Have you ever, by any chance, used Le Loup Garou?
Yeah, I've used that one a couple times.
Granted, I've used it in campaign games.
Me too. Exactly.
That's where I've used it. So I haven't used it, I guess, in a regular game.
Yeah, I don't think I have either. Yeah, I think that one was sent on like a mission in Economy Edition, so it was flying. It's not good, but with a helmsman and like extra action, you can go like wicked fast with Ghost Ship, which is pretty cool. So you can get somewhere really quick. And then I was in Command the Oceans, but it didn't really... it was like a Whirlpool expedition ship, but it didn't really do much. I think it kind of just spun out. I think the French sent it... They were trying to get to the Sea of Alas, but then they ended up in the Caribbean, which is where they didn't want to go, or something like that. So it didn't do too well in either game, but I wasn't really expecting it to, so...
I think, I mean, regarding my own playstyle at least, I think you hear me blab on all the time about hybrid ships, and I do like to use them, and I've had some success, but I don't actually think that they're the best way to play.
Yeah.
I think ultimately what you need is like stuff that's dedicated to its role and is going to do it better than a hybrid, because if you get your too expensive outfitted hybrid ships, off-running gold, they're probably going to be doing it slower and at a much steeper cost than a dedicated gold run or something like Le Belul or even just HMS Dover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah.
What about you, Bill? Play styles?
Let's see here. Like I said,
Yeah, I was going to say you like using OP stuff and the pirates.
Yeah, when I play games with my brothers, when we're not playing death matches, we tend to play collection to collection, like personal collection to personal collection. Yeah. So for campaign games, we play along faction bonuses, like I'm French, he's American. But for smaller games, it's all the ships that I personally own versus all the ships that you personally own. And my personal collection is heavy on the pirates, Spanish, I think the Americans and English.
Yeah.
I don't have a whole lot of France actually, I've also got a whole bunch of cursed, so I guess I don't have a whole bunch of France. But yeah, I tend to use some of the more OP stuff. I don't have a Banshee's Cry, so I can't use that. I don't have a High Pang, so I can't use that.
Except on
but
Vassal.
I do... Huh?
Except on Vassal.
Well, yeah, except on Vassal. That tournament number 2. Every single fleet has one of them in it. But yeah, if I was to build like a 40-point fleet for a regular game against my brothers, I would probably find myself using the Darkhawk 2 and La Monarca in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Darkhawk. It's a fun ship. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my play style is use the overpowered stuff.
That's how I said. Yep.
Or that it was like kill everything.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we played death matches a lot.
Yeah.
So we like I think like 2 weeks ago we got out the ships for like a weekend deathmatch series where it was like, okay, you pick the best capital ship in your ships, and I'll throw it against one of mine.
Yeah.
And so we'd go back and forth like that for like a couple hours.
Yeah.
It was like killing everything.
And then also as far as play styles, I mean it's a pretty vague, open question. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't always go for like the nearest wild island. Sometimes I'll send like a faster ship to one that's farther away, or like depending on the fleet I'll have, I might be a little safer or on the more conservative side. And also in terms of like what games you play. So I play a lot of campaign games, and so does Bill. So our play style and our kind of our rankings threads reflect that, because we value campaign games equally, or at least a heavy portion compared to regular games too, because 40-point games only make up such a percentage of the games we play overall. So, and once at least one more campaign game goes over, I'll kind of delve into that more, like strategy behind campaign games, and my play style within them anyway. But play style is good. It's a really open question. We could return to that too. It's a good topic, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump back in there. Something like, I don't know about what strategies you'd like to use, but I saw Wolf mention this once, and then I looked at the abilities and read, and I found that the gold capture ability, like Bonnie Peel and those kind of crew, are like wicked awesome.
Yeah, they're underrated. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, when I have a chance to like try and surprise my brothers, it's like I'll build like a Grand Tempo build and put Bonnie Peel on it.
Yeah.
So I try to guarantee myself a one board.
Yeah.
As it is, when they see me pulling out the Grand Tempo, they're like, he's gonna kill us all and then just win by default. And it's like, no, dude, I'm gonna board you. give me your crew.
Nice.
I honestly like bounce between trying very hard to win and just kind of using silly stuff. I for example, in the last game I played, I used Destiny with Minuteman Toad behind it.
Yeah.
To not much effect, actually, because you don't get a lot of range or accuracy with Destiny. It's not a good ship.
Slow. Yeah, it's a slow combo.
Yeah.
But
it's
I do vibe with that too. Like sometimes I'll definitely want to win. And in terms of like streaks, sometimes I'll know somebody's beat me like 2 times or 3 times in a row, like especially on Vassal or something. That makes me want to win more. And then other times I like to go with like more gimmicky stuff because I like to change it up, or I get sick of using like the OP stuff. So I'm like, oh, let's do something wacky now.
Yeah.
It's a big.
Do you ever use events?
What was that?
Do you ever use events?
Oh no, definitely not.
Outside the tournament.
Yeah, only the tournament. Yeah.
I used events once against my one brother, and it was in a game to like determine who got. I think it was the Dauntless, because we'd gotten it, and it was a split between me and him. And so I went super try hard, or like I think I don't know if it was try hard or like try to make him really salty. Either one of them.
Yeah.
But I wound up winning the game, and it was like the one time I've used events against them.
Yeah.
And since then, I'm like, okay, nope, let's not do that.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. Yeah. And he didn't have any, right?
Yeah, he didn't have Favor the Gods.
Yeah.
Or any. I think I used in conjunction, like one right after the other.
Oh,
I think I either hit him with mermaids or becalmed first.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it was a UPS build fleet.
Oh my god. Yeah, you would win that.
So he was salty for a couple days.
Yeah, I would be.
I've said, hey, dude, do you want to like do a rematch? He's like, nah, dude, you won.
That's what I would say, a rematch. Yeah, no events, no IPENG, no CJS. That'd be funny.
One of these days, I'm going to bother the hell out of my play group and field a really terrible fleet where I've spent as much as possible on events, and then just use a couple really not very good ships.
Yeah, that could be interesting, actually. I feel
use like the Jollymon. It's 1 point.
Oh, wait, is it even possible to spend 39 points on events? I know there's one that's like 10 points.
Use False Treasure.
I don't think so.
I know.
Just like get like 2 or 3 versions of False Treasure.
Yeah,
just ruin everyone's day.
Oh, yeah, no, it's you.
I don't know if you can
the same name. You can't.
All right, so just use mermaids, becalmed, False Treasure.
Yeah.
What else is there that's annoying?
Trade route or something?
Foul winds.
Yeah, foul winds. I think we talked about this
I
last
could
time.
fall wins after eating too many beans.
We still have to figure out.
Taco Bell.
We were still going to look up like how much all the events cost combined to put them all in a fleet. And there is a way to
there's Duel.
Yeah, it's really cheesy.
Duel.
It's really cheesy, but there is a way to get multiple events of the same name, but you have to farm Mysterious Islands and bring events into the game.
So include an island and just continually spam it.
Yeah.
That's what you should do, man. If you want to like just annoy everybody, that's how
you
do it.
Yeah, if you want
just
them to not
false
play with
treasure over and over again.
Exactly.
And what if I did false treasure repeatedly, use as many 0 coins as I have?
Yes, that's what
and so just nullify everybody else's hold over and over again, and then take 1 gold point home with a value increaser to win.
Yep.
Oh, jeepers.
Exactly. That's
I'm
actually
not going to do that.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to do. I only have physically, I think 4 zeros maybe, because they're tough to get. But I want to get more 0 coins and just use all zeros. That'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I have to use 6 zeros and then a 7 and an 8.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm saying in a non-standard like format game, like where it's like a house rule where like I ask them if it's okay if I contribute like all the coins, and then they're just like, oh yeah, sure, whatever.
Then they go zeros. So
you trap someone.
That's how to make sure that somebody doesn't want to play with you again.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I guess
I get the feeling that
if nobody had a gold bonus, it would just turn into a deathmatch, I guess, as a house rule, pretty much.
Yeah.
Imagine they all came with gold fleets, so you've got like the Banshee's Cry going up against the Monarchy would win. It's bigger. You could just ram the Banshee's Cry.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, I'm adding up.
Like other gold
that
have like really bad cannons.
Yeah. Okay, so I talked about this holiday special thing. I mean, it was a joke, but God Mason
it's time for the Star Wars holiday special.
But God Mason did bring up talking about a few pieces people might like. We're recording this on December 22nd, and we're going to talk about. God Mason had this idea of trying to come up with counters for the sleigh and Whitebeard, which are the only pieces that are banned for real and can't be used. But yeah, so if you haven't seen it, I'll just go over the sleigh real quick. It's a 4-master, 25 points, 10 cargo, L plus L plus L move. All the cannons are 2L, and then it has Joyside's attack, which is silly.
Would you like me to read these? I literally have it in front of me. I just assembled my copy in the middle of this podcast.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
okay,
cool. That's fine.
So, sleigh is... I'm pretty sure you've read off all this, but I'm just going to start from the top. Sleigh is 25 points, and it belongs to its own faction. The little flag is a sort of red and white striped thing with a wreath on it. So it's a 4-masted ship for 25 points. It has 10 cargo space. It moves 3L. All its guns are 2L. Joyside's attack, as Ben mentioned, is... Let me get this up. Joyside's attack. This ship's cannons have a range of 6L, and they can shoot only when she has treasure aboard. When this ship successfully hits a target ship, instead of losing a mast, the target's crew are identified as good boys and girls. Place one of the ship's treasure tokens aboard the target, if the target has available cargo capacity. Until the target unloads this treasure, she may be given only move actions to dock at the nearest island. When the target docks, roll 1d6. The target must spend a remainder of turns there in joyous revelry equal to the result. Now, the rest... In addition to that, because that's one keyword, the sleigh also says, this ship cannot be shot at and she cannot sink. She begins the game fully loaded with treasure from her controller's collection. Her base move becomes 6L when she has no available cargo capacity. Oh, and then there's also Captain Whitebeard, who is, he's Santa in a tricorn. He's 12 points. He's linked. This ship may move and shoot using the same move action. And this, I would love to use Davy Jones to copy this, but it's banned.
It's a banned item.
Yeah.
Except on the 25th.
Yeah.
24th. It's banned everywhere except then.
Once per turn, this ship's controller may choose another ship and bellow, ho, ho, ho. Any crew on the target falls asleep, and so the target loses her next turn.
Yeah.
So how do you...
I don't know how you'd
ramming?
Maybe if you got the first turn and had mermaids,
yeah.
you could stop this.
Actually, wait, that's... so one thing I just thought of, I'm not sure it would work, but if you got a ram submarine fleet, because, can't shoot at that, and in theory, couldn't Whitebeard only disable one submarine a turn?
Yeah,
yeah, he says once per turn, this ship's controller may choose another ship. Yeah. So he could still hit your submerged ship. However, if you're submerged, you'd be protected from the Joyside's attack.
Yeah. I think what I would do, I've always loved cancelers. I think I would cancel that it can't be shot at, and then try to hit it with like Stinkpot Shot, which shuts down all the ship abilities and crew abilities for their next turn. So I try to get a canceler in S range and then hit with Stinkpot Shot. Maybe bring a couple ships with both of those things. I mean, 37
canceler
points.
On a submarine?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have maybe the Black Watch. I'd rather have one Al cannons than a sub, like the Black Watch maybe. But yeah, other than that, what I don't understand is how it says fully loaded. She begins the game with treasure. So couldn't you just redock and just win the game automatically? I mean, it doesn't make sense. So.
Yeah, probably.
Because there's I'm looking at the forum, the galley entry here. Yeah. Whitebeard's Raiders. This ship's controller must, at the beginning of each turn, and if this ship has available cargo capacity, load one treasure from his or her collection onto this ship. In games played on December 24th, this ship has an unlimited base move and cargo capacity.
Man. I think basically it would just come down to the die roll to see who goes first. Because if they go first, they redock, win, and then. But if you go first, you could you could hit them with Becalmed, and then maybe. I don't know, try to get a canceler out there, right away with, San Cristobal, maybe? I don't know. It's, impossible.
Yeah. So I think you would need at least 2 events.
Yeah, at least.
And I'm thinking about this. I think you would have to go cheesy.
Oh, yeah.
You'd need
almost
to have...
as cheesy as using Slay.
You'd need Becalmed.
Yeah, at least.
I think Hidden Cove.
Yeah.
And a souped-up San Cristobal.
Yeah. You still can't use both events in the first turn though, so it'd be tough.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then
use the first turn to you go first. You play Becalmed.
Yeah.
And then it can't move.
Mm-hmm.
So then you sail the San Cristobal out, and you don't have any other ships. Then you in their turn, nothing happens. Then your turn again. Now you play Hidden Cove.
Yep.
And you play it so that you move the San Cristobal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in a perfect world, you have an extra action that you've achieved, and then you zip across the map next to this thing and cancel it at its home island.
Yeah. But then it can still move away and redock, I feel like. It's just tough.
Can't be sunk, but it doesn't say can't be derelicted.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
But when it's still docked at the home island, it can't be shot at either way, even if you can't.
Oh, maybe use an L mover in conjunction with all of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Somehow or other.
I mean, points-wise, you're going to have at least 37 points. Even if you don't do 40, 37 would be the minimum you'd have available to try to beat it. So you might, I don't know if you had enough to really beat it, and you'd have to get wicked lucky the entire time. But I guess maybe it's possible. So I think you need, maybe more than one canceler. In terms of the Joyside's attack, can shoot... Oh, never mind. I forgot that it started the game fully loaded. I feel like... starting the game fully loaded with gold, I think that's the biggest flaw actually, because if we just nix that and just keep everything else, you could deny the Joyside's attack with wolves and a lot of bad UTs. So it's still ridiculous. So even
it's funny how we identify that as the biggest game breaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the point of the Joyside's attack is that you're supposed to give the treasure that's on the sleigh to the ships it shoots with Joysides.
Mm-hmm. But then you have to go to the nearest island, not home island. That's the problem. You can't even go home, technically. Unless it's right there, but... You'd have to try to get shot at... Or
you have a fort conveniently located on that island.
Yeah, that, or try to get shot at right when you're about to get home anyway, so it's the nearest island by default, is your home island. because you don't want to roll that d6, because then it looks like natives are mermaids, because you get like a 5 and then just sit there for the whole game. So
Yeah.
oh well. I might actually be playing a game hopefully this Christmas Eve, but I don't have this stuff, so
You don't need it.
Yeah, I'm teaching a new player too, so to yank this out would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm actually turning mine into an ornament.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
That's cool.
And actually, if I can get like a...
That's a good idea.
If I had one, I'd use mine.
Yeah, no, I'd rather...
I'd play a game on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day.
No.
And use this.
No, I like...
That actually sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, God Mason, I like that idea, though, because then you won't be using it in game, which is good, so... Keep your play.
But the pine needles could scratch the paint.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe I should just find like a glass bulb to put it in, so where I can screw on the cap and just hang it there.
Yeah.
Ship in a bottle.
Shipping an ornament.
Yeah, you could put water in there and have it. Well, it won't float, but you could put water in there.
I could put water in there and have it dissolve over the next year or two.
Yeah, or like fake snow or something.
Actually, fake snow sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because looking at the gallery photo for this...
Snow globe.
Yeah. God Mason, do you still have it in your hand?
Yes, I do.
All right, the masts look like candy canes.
They do, and the rigging... Much of the rigging is strings of lights. There's tinsel hung between the cannons. The figurehead is a candy cane.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just trying to describe it for people who don't have.
Yeah, I wonder if this ship would taste better than the other ships because it's candy.
Okay,
masts.
I'm about to lick. I'm about to lick Slay. Okay.
Okay.
It tastes like styrene.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then Captain
I don't know
Whitebeard, the crew chip for Captain Whitebeard, you could make him like a separate ornament or something.
Yeah, or you could just slip it in behind him.
Yeah.
Speaking of how ships taste, what's your favorite tasting ship, guys?
I don't have one yet. Myself to try.
No.
Yeah, I haven't tried one recently, so I don't remember.
I've smelled.
For me, it might be mocha or cacao.
The puns.
Oh, that's not even a pun, really. Although, real quick interruption, I did calculate how much it would cost to get every event in the game.
Nice.
They only come to 29 points.
I was going to say.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So, what's the worst ship you can get for 11 points exactly?
Tiger.
Ooh, yes, exactly.
There's probably worse. I'm pretty sure there's worse, but still.
Oh no, I don't think there is. Tiger's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, you probably think it's worse.
Oh yeah,
Tiger is basically perfect.
Yeah, going back to the taste thing, I like the smell when I open a new pack of cards, but I haven't actually tasted any yet. So yeah.
I mean, I just licked the third mast. That's all I did.
Yeah.
I didn't take a bite.
I noticed that they changed. This is a random thing. I think it was with the Caribbean set, I think, or ROTF. They changed the inside of the packs to be like less glossy. It's like a slightly different material that they use for the packs. I don't know if you guys have noticed that too. I haven't really heard people talk about that.
I haven't.
And it smells. Okay, yeah. Notice it next time. Like the Cursed Seas sets generally have a different. The packs are a little different, especially on the inside. And it smells different. I like the smell of the early sets better. Probably because of nostalgia, but still.
I think you're right, actually. That makes sense. And I do remember the earlier sets just having a better smell for some reason.
Yeah.
There may be something to that.
Yeah.
You don't smell the cards?
I think it's not that I don't smell the cards. It's that I don't think I ever opened a pack of anything from before Davy Jones' Curse.
Wow.
Really?
Except one.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I have opened one Spanish main pack.
Yeah.
And it had La Resolucion and the Bill of Exeter, and I think Comandante Luis de Alva in it.
Huh. And you didn't sniff any of them?
Yeah, I did. It smelled like a new ship. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say,
but like a bulk of... Yeah.
You're going to have to buy
like
a box of Revolution and just like OD on the sniffing.
Nah.
Well, see, you don't want to do too many at once because I think you just lose your sensitivity to it.
Yeah, I think somebody on the forum talked about how it can be toxic too. So
stuff.
Yeah. So All right, so I don't know if you guys have anything else to mention for our episode here, but I'm pretty much.
Yeah, I don't really have any ideas about how to counter the sleigh or Whitebeard.
Yeah, well, we talked about it. We tried at least.
I thought maybe one of my
false treasure would be a way to get under the skin of this thing.
Wait, can you do that right away? Wait, I gotta look this up.
Yeah, check that.
Idea.
You can play it right away. Yeah, it just says reveal this event at the beginning of one of your turns. Yeah.
You still have to go first, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that would pretty much guarantee it. Then you wouldn't need the canceling as much and the L movers as much, because once it's empty, then it has to sail out, and then you can go after it from there with Hidden Cove and cancelers. So that's a good one.
So just build a 30-point fleet and then include this false treasure.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
And then you might be able to stop the sleigh.
Yeah, possibly. Still need canceling.
I thought about using sea dragons like that Too Many Flappy Things fleet I did.
I had a brief thought about using a sea dragon.
You'd have to figure out a canceler, though.
Yeah.
Besides, Whitebeard could still shoot at the sea dragon so that it loses its next turn. You've been a good scaly reptile thing.
You've been a good scaly.
Flappy thing.
Go eat some sailors for me.
Before Christmas, I'm going to try to come up with a Krampus sea dragon custom piece and post it.
Nice.
I remember last year, I think in the custom ships there, we made Christmas themed 10 masters or something.
Oh, no.
That'd be
yes.
Slay 2.
No. It was I think it was Cazador who started. It was Krampu or something. It was weird.
Yeah.
Krampu. All right.
Eventually, out of that grew the Yaoshan, incidentally.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I didn't know that.
Which translates into mouse incident.
Yeah.
No, Yaoshan, I don't know if Google Translate is reliable, but Yaoshan literally means demon ship.
Nice.
Well, then what does Baochuan mean?
Baochuan is, if I remember correctly, it refers to Baochuan or whatever. It's Chinese or something. I don't know. It's Mandarin, one of the dialects maybe. I think it means treasure ship.
Yeah, that sounds
right. And that particular style of ship is referred commonly as Baochuan.
Yeah, exactly. It was almost like a ship type rather than just one model, one ship. So.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Guichuan
is ghost ship, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It says so I think in the flavor text.
Yeah, that sounds right too. Yeah. Nice.
Yep, that sounds right.
All right. Oh, this was a fun episode. Got pretty silly at the end, but it's good.
Yeah.
All right.
There's gonna be at least I'm looking at the spreadsheet here. There's 1, 2. There's 4 more tabs for Return of Davy Jones. So you guys are
making with some new factions.
Yeah, we got more stuff to cover. Yeah, we got a lot of it, bulk of it done. But
okay, so here are the new Nepalese.
Because the American tab is the only one that's really got anything worth looking at in it.
Mm-hmm.
I included the mercenaries because my brother liked them, and then the super and the limited edition sections in RODJ are small.
Yeah, of course.
This means I got to make a spreadsheet for fiends, which means I should probably post the Blood Islands.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Post more of them soon. That'd be fun.
I think I might post some maybe after we're done here.
Cool. This was episode 13 of the podcast. For anybody listening, I guess we could start doing a question of the day if we want to. And you can respond on Miniature Trading or anywhere you want to. But I would say maybe what is your play style would be the question. How do you play? Size of the games. What kind of fleets do you like to use? Do you always try to win? Things like that.
I always try to beat my brothers.
Yeah. So just what is your play style?
Consequently, they always get salty.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thanks for listening, and this was episode 13, and we'll see you later.
And may all your Christmases be white.
Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum.